parents, if you are listening to this in your car with children, we don't swear or anything on the podcast, but
there is a parental advisory here.
You might just want to know that we'll acknowledge the magical existence of Santa. You've been warned.
Welcome to the Growing a Fruitful brand holiday special. I'm Ben Luters, founder and art director of Fruitful Design and Strategy, and I'm joined by my business partner and brand strategist, Raj Lula, and today we're bringing a little bit of holiday cheer to your home. We decided to give each other Christmas-themed gifts and react to the different brands that Christmas brings us.
Yep.
Raj, you got any presents for me?
Always. Here's a giant bag for you.
Oh my gosh. I love the wrapping.
Take the heavy thing out.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I just reach in and pull the heavy thing out, you said?
Oh, well, the weirdly shaped thing.
Okay. What is this?
There you go.
Oh, you gave me Santa. Let's see. Can we see this?
Yep.
I hold it up here. Little Santa. I'm going to break this. I surely am. I'm going to put this back over there. For those who are listening, I just pulled out this glistening Santa figurine. And Raj, what can you tell us about this character?
I mean, this one I believe is a wood carving and is painted. And it's definitely not from Target. I got it from a, Amish woodworking shop.
Raj made this himself late last
yes,
night.
I've been whittling.
His own little Santa's workshop.
So the reason I got it for you is because Santa is kind of a brand all to himself.
Right.
There's been many versions of Santa throughout history, including the historical Santa. And so, more than just the gift itself, I wanted to have you react to Santa. What do you think about Santa?
Well, yeah, it's interesting. I grew up. We didn't really do Santa in my family, so bah humbug. But it is funny. Even just looking at this figurine, there is he's got a uniform. There's colors. The hat is just the hat itself.
Yep.
To me is so iconic. And I know it's morphed over time. It wasn't originally he looked exactly like this, but I know there were some things along the way that, helped him develop into the American version of Santa that we know and love now. But there's just something about that you see someone, walking around with a big white beard of a certain age and the belly jiggling like jelly or whatever in the poem. And it's you just think Santa, it's just funny how he's such an iconic character that, that I hope I look like him someday.
I'm well on my way, to be honest. There's a lot of little gray happening here. So you didn't do Santa in your home growing up. We did. I find it one of the best ways to lie to children.
No, it's one of the most socially acceptable,
Seriously, though, for us and our family, when I found out about Santa, I was really touched by the fact that through the years, my parents gave the best gifts and didn't take credit for it. And to me, that was the real spirit of Christmas, that unvarnished generosity that doesn't take credit. And to me, that spoke a lot more of what love actually is, what Christmas actually is and represents. And so a lot of people, especially in, kind of the faith circles that we've run into, they'll be like, oh, you can't do it because if they don't think Santa's real, then they won't think God's real and kind of all that stuff. But I had kind of the exact opposite reaction where it was wow, that kind of generosity that doesn't need credit is incredible. And so I'm a big fan of Santa. The modern version of Santa was largely shaped by Coca-Cola starting in 1931 by an artist named Hayden Sundblom. I looked up his full name and it's Hayden Hubbard, quote, Sonny Sundblom. And just somebody named Sonny made, Santa the way that we know him today. Other depictions of Santa have been tall and thin or sometimes elfish. And he's been wearing everything from a bishop's robe that you'd maybe see in, a traditional kind of church to animal skins, kind of like John the Baptist in the Bible and
eating locusts in the desert. Yeah.
Yeah. And, the legends of Santa kind of range from everything of the sort of the Jolly Saint Nick that we know, but there's also other cultures that have kind of counterparts to Santa, like Krampus that punishes naughty children, and you know, he's been depicted in movies and television, advertisements, like we talked about, and you know, there's even a new movie with David Harbour from Stranger Things coming out this Christmas, where Santa is basically an action hero. It's a very
why not
I feel like in recent years, sort of the like gruff hipster Santa image has taken over. Have you seen that? Like,
oh, sure.
With like sort of the real angled beard and, you know, muscly, maybe some tattoos.
It's sexy Santa.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to say it, but yes, yep. Which is a whole take on it by itself. You know, I personally find that rotund and bearded is the most attractive looking go for. So I don't know why they're trying to improve on it. But
yeah.
You know, whatever. Of course, he's based on the historical Saint Nicholas, who was a bishop from Greece, which is an area of Greece that's now Turkey. And he's most famous for, in that time, of preventing 3 girls from being human trafficked. So he was, you know, Saint Nicholas was actually a very good man by the accounts that we found. There are some really fun legends about him, including that he may have been at the Council of Nicaea.
Oh, yeah.
And which, you know, if you're not familiar with church world stuff, that's just one of the councils where sort of the you know, basics of the Christian faith were kind of agreed upon. And
I just like this idea of like an early church council in like the 300s, and Santa Claus is at the table.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
I know he probably didn't look like this, but that just makes me happy. Right. It's like the Easter bunny's over here. We got Santa over here.
He's only eating milk and cookies the whole time.
St. Augustine's over here. You know, it's just like everyone's there.
Yes. So he is on a list. St. Nicholas is on a list of attendees at the Council of Nicaea. But no one really spoke about him being there, so we're not really sure if he was there. The legend says that if he was there, that he probably got kicked out of the council and imprisoned for a night for punching someone he thought was a heretic.
Classic Santa. That's the hardcore Santa we're talking about.
I mean, that's David Harbour Santa right there.
Yeah, that's the action hero Santa.
One of my favorite legends that we came across, and again, I've already given you the children warning in this episode, but one of my favorite legends that I came across that I did not tell you about yet.
Oh boy, here's a true reaction.
Was you know, he was known for doing miraculous things, one of which was calming a storm, kind of like Jesus in the Bible. But another one was that he supposedly resurrected 3 children who'd been murdered by a butcher and brined to be sold as pork during...
Who makes this stuff
during
up?
a famine. I have no idea if this is true or not.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I guess...
Was that Krampus?
The butcher might have been.
Yeah.
I don't know. So anyway, some real wild stuff about Santa out there.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so overall, good brand, bad brand for Santa.
Kind of a mixed bag, which is actually what he's carrying on his back.
It's an actual mixed
He has
bag.
an actual
well
mix.
done, sir.
That's kind of his thing. All right, you ready for a present, Raj?
Sure.
All right,
I'll
here we
take a
go.
present.
I think this is the one. It's kind of it dovetails nicely with the Santa.
I think you did a better job rapping than I did.
I think my wife did a better job rapping than I did. Yeah, my wife Megan is really into rapping. So as soon as she heard about this, she
Next year's holiday episode, we might do just the brand of Christmas rapping and get into the fact. Did you ever wrap presents with like the funny pages from the newspaper?
Oh yeah.
There's a year I did that. It was like all duct tape and newspaper. It's like the year your mom stops wrapping the presents for you, and then you have to do it yourself. And it's like, all right, well, you're gonna get what you get. So, I have a stocking here in plaid, which I mean very much is on brand for me. So
yeah, that's right.
The plaid, not the stocking, to be clear.
Yeah, no, this is what Raj wears for socks, actually, is holiday stockings. So now you know.
Yes.
So now you got one. Now I have to get you a matching pair. But no, so with this, that had to be pretty weird to unwrap a stocking because you would never actually, receive a stocking as a present for Christmas, obviously. So we're kind of living in a fantasy
Especially an
land.
empty stocking on Christmas.
This is kind of the worst possible thing, right? Like getting socks for Christmas is like the worst thing, and just getting an empty Christmas stocking. But what do you think about, what's your reaction to the brand of the stocking?
So the brand of the stocking, that's a good question. The stocking itself, when we were kids, we were always allowed to, get anything that was in the stocking or like on the floor, kind of open, unwrapped, we were allowed to play with. This was a brilliant tactic by my parents to not wake them up at 6 a.m. on Christmas. And so there's like anything that's open, anything that's in your stocking, you can have. It did not prevent us from getting all sugared up by 7 a.m., but at least they got to sleep a little bit longer. So in that regard, the stocking is a good brand. I think it's gotten a little out of control lately.
Tell me more.
People are spending like hundreds and hundreds of dollars of just stuff to go in stockings. It's like,
sure. There's been a couple of years where Meg and I only do stockings for each other.
Yeah.
And then we go way over budget. 'Cause you start getting all these really expensive little things.
An iPhone will fit the stocking.
That's right. It turns out a lot of the stuff that adults want actually can fit in a stocking.
It's very small.
It's very
Keys to Alexis fit in a stocking.
How many diamond earrings fit in one stocking? Keys to Alexis.
I do think it can get kind of wild and overboard lately, but overall, I think the heart of it is really good. There's of course the classic scene in The Grinch where he completely robs the stockings. It's very sad, and so some really kind of classic Christmas iconography here in the stocking. What do you think about the brand of stockings?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like if you think about it as almost like a logo, it's actually pretty great. It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
Almost like a Nike swoosh if you put it on the side. And, it's very easy to recreate. And, even a little kid could draw a picture really accurately of a holiday stocking. So, simple shape, simple colors, but then kind of like Santa, it's very easy to kind of evolve and customize. So in my family, we'd always get these like cheap blank red stockings, and then we'd decorate them with glitter glue and put our names on. Every year we'd make a new like stocking for ourselves. And so it was a fun, like, arts and craft project. So it was, they can be very interactive. They can be various sizes and materials as well. And some can stretch to fit more stuff than others. Some stockings are better than others.
That's true.
And so, and even if you don't have, the traditional story, of course, this goes back to St. Nicholas, who we were just talking about. And, back in the 300s, Raj made, a comment about these three girls who were about to be trafficked. And the story is that, St. Nicholas snuck in and put some gold coins in the stockings of these girls out to dry. I think
in their actual stockings. Like
in their actual, yeah, right. They didn't have, Target holiday stockings. It's just their socks. Their socks are out drying by the fire. And the money that they received helped them to not have to be sold into slavery, basically. And so, of course, all of these stories, who knows if they're, true or if they're based in some kind of, true
legend,
historical thing, or if it's a legend. But that's kind of where it comes from. And so you can see like that idea of, secretly putting some kind of a gift in something in a sock hanging by a fire. It's just kind of a really cool tradition, and that's what stockings are all about. Is that holiday, year after year kind of tradition of gift giving. So next up,
well, that actually goes well with my next gift for you.
Oh boy.
How about you take the little one out of the bag here?
Okay, let's see. The little one.
The little one.
Ooh, very little one. Oh. Ooh, can I eat all of these now?
There's two in there, and I mean you could eat all of them, or you could share. It's it's up to you. You make your own.
All right. So for the listeners,
here.
I am holding. Oh, and they're white too. The Reese's trees. So these are Reese's peanut butter candies that are shaped like kind of shaped like trees.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
blobular,
Yeah.
but these are the white chocolate version. Oh man, Raj knows I like white chocolate, which turns out is not even really a chocolate.
Are you
Can I open this?
Go for it right now?
Yeah, do you want one?
Sure.
We should do this.
we'll
We should do
toast.
this. Okay, so this is, thank you, Raj. So first of all, I have to admit, I've never actually had one of these before. Like,
So
I've
you
never
didn't
had
have-
the trees.
You didn't have Santa growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And you've never had a Reese's tree. Did you even celebrate Christmas?
I mean, not really, I guess. Now that, this one got crushed, but that's
Oh,
okay.
here, you can have the
that's fine, that's
blobular
fine.
one.
That's fine. These are
There was a
big.
little controversy a few years ago about how they were not
people see
exactly
these?
tree shaped.
Yeah, this doesn't look like super tree shaped, you
No.
know? It doesn't really come to the point that you would want.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Oh my goodness. That's an interesting peanut butter to chocolate ratio there.
I'm gonna lean back from the microphones without chewing people's ears.
No,
here.
people like that. That's that ASMR people talk about.
I'm actually really sad for you that you've never experienced the holiday shaped Reese's, because I would argue for sure that they have a better peanut butter to kind of chocolate ratio, which is just really strong out of the gate. And the white ones in particular, so I actually bought them on accident. I think it was 2 Christmases ago.
Wait, how old are these?
Not this package, but for the first time, because normally I just buy the normal chocolate Reese's trees. I bought the white ones for the first time on accident a few years ago. We always put them in kids' stockings, and I was like, it was like Christmas Eve, and I go, oh man, I bought the white ones. I was so mad at myself because normally white chocolate can be a little cloying, a little too sweet, and I was just like, I'm not happy about this, but I bit into one, and it took me back in time.
Really?
Yeah, because when I was a kid, my grandma would send us this Tupperware full of cookies that she'd made herself. And one of her most famous ones was 2 Ritz crackers with peanut butter in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
And then she would dip them in almond bark.
Yeah, yeah.
And biting into a white Reese's tree, like, just immediately took me back to that. And so this mistake that I made a couple of Christmases ago ended up being like, oh my gosh, we're getting these every year now, because they're just really perfect. Now,
These are really good.
it's not just about this though, because we'll expand it a little bit more to sort of all of Christmas candy in general. I think there's some real strong players like the Reese's Trees. I think there's some weak ones too.
Like what?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really get why Hershey's Kisses get kind of billing as a Christmas candy. It's
Hot take. Hot take.
first of all, I'm not a huge fan of just a plain Hershey's bar anyway. I like the chocolate and peanut butter, kind of the salty and sweet. I
Big
like
on the salty and sweet.
I even like a
warning.
crunch bar, with the puffed rice
you gotta get
inside
some
or something
crunch
like
in
that's
there.
more of a Halloween thing though for me.
Yeah.
And so I really think that the reason why Hershey's Kisses became a Christmas brand was because of a commercial they did in the 90s where they treated the Hershey's Kisses like bells, and then they would animate them like going to a Christmas carol. And
That's
I
a
think
stretch.
I
That's a
think they got
stretch.
away with it because it's kind of in the Christmas aisle. But you could eat a Hershey's Kiss any day of the year. Something interesting about the Reese's Trees. They were not introduced until 1993, so I think part of the reason they have a strong nostalgia for me is like that sort of peak, childhood Christmas years for me. And it's weird how some of those things, like I would have just sort of assumed they've been around forever, but they've been around for most of my forever, just not everybody's forever.
Not everyone's forever. One like bonus Christmas brand that's kind of adjacent to this is just the shape of a Christmas tree too. And that's one of the things, like, here you're just taking an already existing candy, you're putting it in this shape, and now it's Christmas. It's very interesting that like that Christmas tree shape, that kind of triangular shape alone is enough to make something. That's a pretty powerful brand, a very iconic, simple shape, often in a certain color of green, with some lights, and it's just like, here you go, you got a Christmas tree. And again, kind of like the stocking, even a little kid can draw it.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, is it my turn?
I think it is.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, we kind of planned this great. By planned, we didn't really plan it. But this is for you, Raj.
Okay, thank you.
You can keep this.
Gonna destroy Meg's wrapping here on camera.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, nice bow, Meg. That was wonderful.
She's really good at that.
Normally, if I tie a bow, then you basically have to get a pocket knife out. And strong tape here too.
Surprised you didn't shake it to see if it's a Lego set. That's our holiday tradition growing up. What is it?
We have candy canes.
Ooh.
These are the traditional red and white striped candy canes for those who are listening. We have the solid red stripe, the solid white stripe, and the 3 thin red stripes next to each other.
Why don't you open one of those up and just eat the whole thing here and just look at the shape of this guy.
I'll do what a lot of kids do, which is suck on it until it like forms a very sharp point, and it's like a prison shiv.
I never did that, Raj.
Yeah. So what do you the brand of a candy cane? It goes with the theme of, the stocking, the Santa hat, the Christmas tree, very easily drawable. In fact, it's basically kind of an upside down stocking in some ways. And for those playing the eggnog drinking game of how many times we can say the Nike swoosh in one of our branding podcasts, also the right shape for that as well. If you turn it on its side a little.
Yep.
So what's interesting about the candy cane brand?
Yeah, well, there's a few different things that stand out to me. Like you said, I mean, it's very, very recognizable, and I think this for those of you who have companies, brands, logos of your own. I think there's something to be said about the longevity of some of these iconic things. I think simplicity is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And actually, as I was researching the history of candy canes, I was surprised to know that they used to be even simpler. So the stripes weren't actually introduced for hundreds of years after they were first invented. And so if you look at pictures from like before the 1800s, like in the 1700s or even end of 1600s, they were all white. They're just plain white, like sugar sticks.
That's disturbing. I don't know. It's like the candy canes are naked, but I don't know how to deal with that information.
No, yeah, it didn't seem.
Are you sure it wasn't just black and white photos? Or,
no.
I guess not that far back.
They said, yeah. It was hard. It would be hard to manufacture those the stripes, but.
You could have children paint them on.
Well,
that's what they did back then.
Ironically, they were for kids. The story is that in Germany, at the Cologne Cathedral, there was a choir master way back in 1670, and he handed out these little sugar sticks to his singers to try to keep them quiet during this special ceremony, and they were bent like that to resemble like a shepherd's crook, and that's the idea. And of course, if you're anything like my family growing up, that meant you could hang them on a tree really easily. And so I don't know how long it took from them to just be, used in this specific choir in Germany to like, dang, this will go on a tree really good. It's like, it's a very, utilitarian thing. It also makes a great handle for your shiv when you get it all pointy. Got a lot of scrapes that way back in the 90s, but... Were you guys a candy cane family?
Love candy canes.
Yeah, and had on your tree?
We didn't. I don't think we did them on the tree. We did them in stockings where they get instantly crushed.
Oh, yeah. Were they hanging outside of the stocking, or?
I think we've done a few different variations. Now we do them on the tree. The problem with that being that if they get put on the tree any sooner than Christmas Eve, they do not make it to Christmas.
Exactly. Yeah. My wife Meg does not like the candy canes on the tree idea. And mainly just because kids are going to snitch them. Like I ever stole candy canes off. Man,
you're like, yes, children, go to bed.
Apparently, 1.76 billion candy canes are produced in just the United States alone every year. And I probably ate about half that many any given year.
800 million of those are in my house.
Yeah, I was big on the candy canes. I really like minty things as well.
Yes.
And so another thing with candy canes in particular is, with this Reese's peanut butter cup, they shaped it like a Christmas thing, so it's a Christmas thing. This tastes like Christmas too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you taste that peppermint in a toothpaste or in something else, it means like, oh, it tastes like a candy cane. It tastes like Christmas. It's and so that's the power of some of these traditions is, there's more than just the visual aspect to some of these things. It's kind of like, with Thanksgiving dinner, there might be like these specific things that your family does for Thanksgiving. And when you smell them and when you taste them, it's just like you can get transported back to, grandma's house when you were 8 years old. And there's something super magical about that. And again, for those of you who, have brands and companies of your own, of course, your company, your reputation, your organization is so much more than just how it looks on a website, right?
Yeah.
That's super important, but it can also be, the way that your office feels if you come in for a meeting or, if you give someone a bottle of water, what kind of water is it? Those kind of things, how it smells, if it smells bad, primarily if it smells bad, that's not a good thing. But, so just kind of expanding the idea of a brand from just being this, very small visual element. There can be a whole lot of different, think of like, that new car smell or something
the experience.
Like that. Yeah, that whole experience is all about, user experience.
So can we go backwards for just a minute to where you said that brushing your teeth tastes like Christmas? So is it like Christmas every morning for you? Or do you purposely avoid peppermint toothpaste?
Oh yeah, I use like that bubblegum flavored stuff that kids use.
It is funny though that like spearmint toothpaste, you're not, you don't, but I'm not even sure there are that many peppermint toothpaste.
No, not that many. And I'm not.
It would kind of ruin
right now.
It would kind of ruin the toothpaste experience.
In December, I do brush my teeth
with candy canes.
And then you get them sharp enough. You got a little flosser there, little toothpick there.
We've ruined Christmas for everyone.
These are very, very versatile candies.
Can I offer a hot take here?
Oh no, sure.
Fruit candy canes should not exist.
Oh man, yeah. It's weird. It's one of those things where you go for it.
My own children are disowning me at this moment because I know that my wife and children like the Starburst candy canes.
No.
And I get it, but my thing is that you can have fruit flavored stuff any time of year. The only fruit that I think belongs in kind of the Christmas candy area, well, that I can think of off the top of my head, is that little orange that you crack.
That's what I almost gave you. I think my wife couldn't find one.
It's a great brand.
I love this.
There's probably a few other things. I think we did like chocolate covered cherries when we were kids and that kind of stuff. But I'm out on fruit candy canes. It's only peppermint candy canes for me.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Especially
too because a lot of the fruit ones come in these like zany colors that they don't even really look good together, and let alone with all of the other Christmas things.
That's another thing. I'm glad you mentioned color because one interesting thing about Christmas is it has a very specific color scheme.
You're wearing,
and I'm trying to wear it.
Now.
So I've got my green and my red. When you see green, red, and white together, it's just an instant Christmas combination, and it's just something about that that's really powerful. And it's just like, your brand has specific colors and Christmas does too, It's more so that I think and more universally accepted than most other holidays or other things. It has a very, very, somewhat limited color palette.
Would you like something out of green and white bag?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. I think it's Legos. It's
you
Legos.
Can try building with this. It may have some problems.
Oh, Raj, how did you know? I'm a big coffee drinker. The classic Starbucks Christmas blend. Got to practice our unwrapping here, man. This is very, very well wrapped.
I find that when you tape the paper to the gift, it really.
It's a trap.
Wow, that smells wonderful, though. I wish.
Yeah, can you smell that?
Neither our video or audio audience can enjoy that smell.
Right, now that it's
unleashed out of that,
free of the wrapping. if you want to listen to some ASMR here,
That's what Christmas coffee
here we
sounds
go.
like.
The Starbucks Christmas blend. And Starbucks kind of goes all out for Christmas, right?
and so the Christmas blend, believe it or not, I was surprised when I looked this up, goes all the way back to 1984. It is like 38 years old.
What?
Yeah. And
Is Starbucks that old?
Yes, yeah. In Seattle, it goes back before that.
Wow.
But yeah, so it goes back 38 years here in 1984.
What's special about it?
It's so it's got different notes. I think this year they said it's notes of chocolate, and I can't remember what the other.
Okay, the packaging is really hard to read this year. You see that?
Maybe not a great.
It's like it's got this gold on red, and you really can't read
It's difficult to read. Yeah.
the notes very well there.
I like how we're just sitting here insulting Starbucks.
Yeah, come on, Starbucks.
You can,
No, they have amazing design
their
and
marketing
designers.
department can feel free to call us at any time. We'll
That's right.
apologize profusely.
Notes of spiced chocolate
Yeah, spiced chocolate.
and spruce tips.
Yes. They cut the spruce tips off directly from the trees.
That's my favorite part of the spruce. Got to get those little spruce tips.
It's like
burnt ends.
It's like tri-tips, yeah. And then, of course, Starbucks also gets into peppermint mochas. And I feel like the drinks get more elaborate every year. The caramel brulee latte, the toasted white chocolate latte, and whenever I try to go get a special coffee treat for my wife around Christmas, I feel like I have to recite Linus's speech from Charlie Brown's special.
And lo, there were shepherds in the field watching their flocks by night.
There's a lot of words you have to say to order a coffee around Christmas, but delicious though. Chock full of coffee and sugar and peppermint, which is what Christmas tastes like.
Yeah, I'm down for Raj knows I'm a black coffee drinker, but the seasonal stuff will get me, like the peppermint mocha, but also like, not necessarily Christmas, but like the pumpkin spice and stuff like that. Like there's a real place, for that, even for someone like me who's more of a black coffee drinker.
Okay, I think it's you now.
It's back on me here. Okay, so this one's a little bit random. I don't have like a ton to say about it. So I wanted to get you. Something that was, you mentioned some of the Coca-Cola Santa Claus stuff. I couldn't find the Coca-Cola Santa Claus stuff that I wanted to get, but we found this instead. And so Raj just gave me some coffee, and he's not much of a coffee drinker actually, even though he speaks very eloquently about coffee. But this is Raj's drink of choice. We got a little Diet Coke,
a little tiny Diet Coke can
ornament. So it's a Christmas tree ornament, and I was hoping to get one with like the polar bears or Santa or something.
This
on
is
it.
perfectly me though, and you know that.
Yeah. No, you might actually use this. So that's.
It's even got little like it must be glue or acrylic. I wish you could. The my arms are very short, but the longer
here's
arms
the zoom lens right here.
It's got little beads of looks like water on the can, but it's acrylic or glue or something. And but yes, that's fantastic. It is funny. I do feel like regular Coke tastes more like Christmas, but Diet Coke is definitely my drink of choice.
It's your jam.
Basically, if you've ever had anything created by me at Fruitful, it was powered by Diet Coke. That's a pretty easy guarantee there.
That's awesome. Well, let's go. Let's just go to this one and then.
Okay, we're doubling up.
Let's just go. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go for it.
Okay.
I don't have too much to say on that one. I just thought it would give you a smile.
All right. I mean, it's DVD shaped, but
DVD. How old fashioned do you think I am?
I would not say that it feels like a DVD. It almost feels more like a book. But let's discover.
Let's see.
Oh, it really is a DVD.
Not one DVD.
Several 5 timeless holiday specials. It says. I should have tried harder.
Yeah.
Oh, it's taped to the package again.
Tapes it to the DVD.
There we go. Okay.
Look at this.
So we have the Rankin Bass Christmas specials, classics in the Christmas universe here. So we've got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We have Frosty the Snowman. And then we have Santa Claus is coming to town. I've never seen that one.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, man. I think you have, like with Winter Warlock and all that.
That's not the one with the heat miser and all that, is it?
No, I think that's Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July.
No, that one's not that. But and then Little Drummer Boy and Cricket on the Hearth, which
I don't know.
Also,
I don't know what that is.
I feel they could have stopped at 4.
yeah. They say 5 holiday favorites, and there's 3 pictures on the cover. Yeah. There's a couple in there that shouldn't
filler.
be. Now, did you watch The Little Drummer Boy? Did you grow up watching that?
I didn't actually.
Okay, so yeah,
I'm
there's
really
some good stuff here.
I'm really only on a couple of these.
I don't know what the heck Cricket on the Hearth is. I'm not interested in that. But Rudolph, Frosty the Snowman, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Those are very, very iconic for me.
Yeah,
you need to educate yourself, man.
Yes, yeah. Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Yeah, I will dig the DVD player out of mothballs and watch Santa Claus is Coming to Town here. But Rudolph and Frosty, I'm quite familiar with. What's special about these movies' brand?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the whole idea with each one of them is they're taking an already existing kind of iconic classic Christmas song and then just like telling the rest of the story and creating their whole, their own kind of universe, right? So, here's Rudolph, the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? This funny, quirky kind of song from, I think the 40s or something like that. It's a pretty old song. And here in 1964, they make this thing that goes into just, all the backstory, all the characters. There's the little, elf who wants to be a dentist, and the abominable snowman, and Yukon Cornelius, and just like all these super fun characters. And obviously the animation style, I think, is super endearing. Absolutely. And just there's something so fun about that. I've always loved claymation and stop motion. I used to do like fun little stop motion things when I was a kid with our camera growing up. And I just think it's so endearing. And of course it inspired kind of the look and feel of parts of Elf, which I was actually watching a documentary about the making of Elf. And apparently, I didn't know this, but the actual stop motion animation, Rankin Bass outsourced it to a Japanese studio that was run by Tadahito Mochinaga, and you can kind of tell like some of the lip syncing and some of that stuff is a little bit off, and it was because there was kind of a language barrier and stuff there. But it was much more affordable. I just assumed it was just
because of claymation being hard. No. Also, can I just say that I used to think, so you probably can't say this right at the top above where it says Christmas specials, but it's got the names Rankin and Bass on there. And for the longest time, I thought it was Rank and Bass, like rank like smelly and fish and bass, like I could not for the life of me figure out why you would name a movie company that or anything. So anyway.
2 guys' names, Rankin and Bass.
So, okay, I'll back you on Rudolph. But Frosty, those movies that are like a Saturday Night Live skit just gone too long? That's Frosty the Snowman is basically like that. Rewatch it as an adult. And
I haven't, actually.
You'll find a number of troubling things. First of all, you
have no idea where he's going, guys.
The whole movie is predicated on sort of this finders keepers principle of this magician gets frustrated with his hat, so he throws it in the garbage, and then the kids put it on his snowman, and the magician's like, oh hey, cool, there's actual magic there, I'd like that back. And they're like, nope, it's ours, you threw it in the trash forever, it's a binding contract with the universe. So
that one's about bullies too, but in the reverse, the children are the bullies.
The man's just trying to make a living there.
The poor magician.
And Frosty says happy birthday every time he comes to life, which doesn't really make, I guess it's maybe his birthday, like his incarnation.
It's always his birthday, I guess. Yeah.
Let's talk about a few other things. So the little girl in the movie, so it starts to get, the weather starts to turn, and Frosty's like, oh, I got to get to the North Pole. Okay, that's valid for him. And then he invites the little girl to go along with him, and she goes, sure, as long as we're back by dinner. This is like outside of a school, this conversation is happening. this school is failing this child. Like, no sense of geography whatsoever. It's, you know, the only guy who's really got a sense of the geography is the guy who does the like massive amount of train tickets in the little window. And
I do need to rewatch this. I am way more familiar
insane.
with Rudolph and Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which if you haven't seen that, there's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Frosty I never really quite connected with.
So then...
And maybe now I know why.
Yeah. Then, like, you know, they catch up with Santa inexplicably in a greenhouse and the magician, and they're kind of this showdown with Frosty. And you know, Frosty sacrifices himself, I guess, kind of like Jesus in the greenhouse for the child, I guess, sort of. And then there's just this, don't worry, I'll be back on Christmas Day.
To haunt your dreams.
Yeah, I mean, but like... How? Like, what? Why? What? Like,
magic. It's the magic of Christmas,
Is he
Raj.
predicting snow on Christmas? There's nothing like logically tying together Frosty, who's a pile of magical snow, which is endearing enough and fine, but and Christmas. Like, he's like, oh, don't worry, I come back every Christmas. And for what reason? Do you help Santa? Are you related to Jesus? I don't really understand.
Like this is a standalone episode, right?
Frosty, you know what's funny though is I'll still watch it, like it's because of nostalgia,
right?
But objectively garbage. Like, it's just it's not a high quality. The plot does not hold up, not at all.
Let's just say I don't know that I'm looking forward to Cricket in the Hearth. I think there's a reason why we don't have that on the cover.
Is it Cricket in the Hearth? Is it being roasted?
Cricket of the Hearth, on the Hearth. He is on the hearth. He is now on the hearth.
Yes, because there's nothing I want on Christmas Eve than to be annoyed by a cricket chirping on top of my fireplace because the kids aren't going to get up early enough as it is.
Yeah, the kids find the cricket on the hearth and they throw him in the hearth, and that's the end of the cricket. It's the shortest Rankin Bass picture. But, you know, it's funny. Speaking of snowmen, my daughter Donna is obsessed with Olaf, of course, from Frozen, anything Frozen.
Olaf makes a quality Christmas film. Yeah.
Yeah, Olaf's great. But this morning we woke up to snow on the ground. So the snow is the first real snowfall. And she's looking out the window, and I was like, do you want to build a snowman? You know, kind of quoting Frozen. She's looking out, and I was like, yeah, but there's no carrots. Like, she thinks the snow comes down with carrots. And it was so good. We got carrots in the fridge.
You didn't have any carrots in your house.
No. She was just like looking out the window and saying, oh, there's no carrots out there. I guess we'll wait. We'll wait till the carrots fall. She thinks we
didn't
live
get
in
the right ingredients here.
Cloudy with the chance of carrots or something.
Yeah. She wasn't as concerned about the coal, though.
Later she was like, and we don't have any black stuff. She didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
That's because you only eat white Christmas trees. And all right. Here is a gift that is very special.
Oh, my goodness.
And a huge bag.
Ooh, what the?
Here's it.
Look at this. Stories for Christmas by Charles Dickens. I thought the Christmas Carol was a lot shorter than this. This is like the Dickens Bible.
That's why they had to call it Stories for Christmas, because the Christmas Carol is the only first quarter of this book. The
type is like 20 points, so that helps.
Yes, this is how you make novelty books. But
you could read this from the lectern or something. Look at that. Look at this. Cricket on the Hearth.
Oh my goodness!
It's one of the stories.
I've been dragging a Dickens story this whole time. They're going to take away my author
on the
card.
Hearth is the best Rankin Bass, and it's
what if it's the best Christmas story? What if it eclipses A Christmas Carol?
What if the cricket becomes the new Santa Claus or something?
The cricket is the ghost of Christmas present. We got to talk about the Christmas Carol. It was written in just 6 weeks in 1843, and so for being one of the most iconic Christmas stories of all time, impressive that it was written just 6 weeks, and also speaks to the power of a deadline and financial straits.
There you go.
Also Christmas themes. Let's be honest. There are more than 100 movie versions of it. There are 2 ballets, 4 operas, And It's a Wonderful Life, another great classic Christmas film, is based loosely on.
That's
the
my
Christmas
favorite
Carol.
movie, by the way. Not just my favorite Christmas movie. It's a Wonderful Life, number one.
He often calls me the old building and loan when we're here in the office.
I thought it was Mr. Potter, but whatever.
It depends on the day. So on the count of three, we're gonna say the best movie adaptation of this, and I guarantee that we'll be in agreement on this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, Muppets Christmas Carol. 100%. So obviously the best. No, the funny thing is, so I had seen the Muppet Christmas Carol a lot as a child, and also, by the way, thank you, Disney, for this Christmas returning The Love Is Gone, the saddest song in that movie.
Don't make me sing it.
But they're returning it. It got cut out because of the theatrical version and the VHS version and all of that. But they thought it was going to make kids too sad, but it's the best song in the movie. And
it does make kids too sad.
Yeah, it's the emotional turning point of the movie, though. And, you know.
I aged 3 years when I first heard that song.
100%. Yep. Well, solitary tear. So Muppet Christmas Carol is actually one of the most faithful adaptations,
very accurate
adaptations of the Christmas Carol. Mm-hmm. There are direct quotes from Dickens in that movie version, and it's wonderful. Also has the Muppets, so great songs. Really one of the best.
If you're looking for a business partner, you gotta find you one that likes the Muppets the way you do. And if you don't like the Muppets, what the heck are you doing on our podcast?
Yes, you're in the wrong place.
We do happen to be like weirdly obsessed with the Muppets.
They're fantastic.
I know so many people that hate the Muppets, but I'm obsessed, and I love the Muppet Christmas Carol.
So there's also another great movie that's really more about the creation of the Christmas Carol. It's called The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Which I haven't seen.
It came out a few years ago. I think that you should run home tonight and go watch that movie. It's fantastic. And one of the things that they show in that movie, especially towards the end, they talk about how the Christmas Carol had an immediate effect on charitable giving. Charitable giving skyrocketed after people read this story. And I think it's also one of the best kind of allegories for the Christmas story itself, of the redemption and possibility that Christmas creates. So I think that's part of the reason it stood the test of time and why people are so enamored with it. Not only that, it's called The Man Who Invented Christmas, that movie is, because some people would say that Dickens invented Christmas. Now, he didn't, of course, but he definitely revived the way that Christmas was celebrated, especially in England and then throughout the world, as there were some cultural items that were sort of distributed throughout the world by the politics and social effects of that time. But yeah, it revived the way that Christmas was celebrated both in England and throughout the world, and it's an incredibly powerful story that's worth revisiting, kind of year in, year out, to get you in touch with Christmas spirit. And I definitely recommend letting Kermit and the other cast of the Muppets take you there. It's if it doesn't warm your heart, nothing will.
That's right. Well, thanks so much for joining us for our little holiday special here. Look how festive this place looks, man. Yeah. This shaped up pretty quick. But yeah, we just wanted to say a warm Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Raj and myself and the whole Fruitful Design and Strategy team. And for looking forward to the new year, make sure you grow something good in the new year.
Ho, ho, ho.